Stats fan. How are we on this fine Monday morning? A little chilly outside. It was chilly this weekend. But the weatherman says hopefully we'll get some warm weather as the week goes on here. I am hoping because I'm ready to get rid of cold weather. Not too much of a fan of it. It's a makeup for the winter being not very cold. Hope everything's gone well for you this weekend. Hope you had a good Mother's Day this weekend. Take care of your mother. And we have 2 weeks left here, but really we only have a week or about a week and a half of this class still. We have a unit test that we'll be covering, have a review sheet that's going to be posted for you today. Test will be tomorrow. Then Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will just be review days for the final, which will be next Monday and Tuesday. And then the school year will be done for statistics. We've completed what we need to complete. Some of you still need to get the in-class assignment in from Friday. Please do, so I can give you some feedback. Two things to talk about with that. Number 3, and problem number 3, we're dealing with the variance. So we have our null and alternate hypothesis deals with the variance, and that is the square. If it was standard deviation, we wouldn't have the square term there, but when we add this square term in there, this tells us that we're dealing with the variance. So we are dealing with the variance at that point. So we need to make sure we watch out for that. Also, this was a two-tail, so this was not equal to and equal to. We have to go to our chi-squared table. And with that chi-squared table with the two-tail, we have alpha divided by 2 and 1 minus alpha divided by 2 to find our critical values. Okay, we get 2 values here. We need to look at those to get the critical values. And if you look back to, I think it was last Monday's notes, you can go back and refer to last Monday's notes to deal with the chi-squared and standard and dealing with our null alternate hypothesis. The other thing with this is when you're dealing with the chi-squared test value, our chi-squared test value is n minus 1 s squared divided by sigma squared. In this problem, you were already given these values. You were given the variance which was an s squared and a sigma squared. That was given to you. So these values here are the values you put in. You do not have to square the values because these values, the squared values, were already given to you. So the 1.25 and the 1.35, I think this was 1.35 up top, and this is 1.25 on the bottom. I can't remember which one was which. But those values are already there. We do not have to square those values. The values are already squared. In problem number 4, you're now comparing 2 different means. You're comparing 2 different means. So your null and your alternate will be 2 means that are being compared. So you have to deal with the 2 means, and then you have to do a little additional work in regards to your test value. Your test value comes down to x1 minus x2 minus mu1 minus mu2, and if you remember back to our notes, this went to 0, and then on the bottom we had the square root of our variance, 1 squared over n1, plus our variance 2 over n2. So this was our test value for the Z-test, and then we had one for the T-test. That was last week's Wednesday and Thursday's notes, so you need to refer back to them. Because we struggle with these two problems, you need to make sure that you are taking care of the notes. It sort of told me a little bit that if we struggled on these problems, we may have not kept up with everything last week. We need to continue to keep up with the material. Okay, we will have, once again, the chapter test tomorrow. There will be a matching section. I gave you the terms on the review sheet. There will be a matching section. There will be some fill-in the blanks, difference between Z-test and T-test, one tail, two tails, stuff like that. There'll be some fill-in, and then there'll be some hypothesis testing also. So you need to make sure that you know what you're doing in regards to hypothesis testing. Now, on the review sheet also, I just pulled the review sheet from last year. There was some optional material that I went through that will not be on the test, and that was the linear regression problem. That's at the end of the review sheet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Even though it's there, I could not cut that page off the review sheet. So when you get to a linear regression problem on the review sheet, and it's not on on the solutions, and it's not on the regular review sheet, and you go, well, did he miss something here? I did not. No, I didn't miss it. I just wasn't able to cut it off the solution because it's a PDF. I couldn't cut the page off. Look at the review sheets, go through the problems in the review sheet. It's supposed to be sort of yucky outside today, so it gives you something to do today in regards to the material that we are covering. So please do work through the review sheets. We'll do the unit test tomorrow. Unit test tomorrow will be on hypothesis testing. And then once again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will just be review days for our final next week, and we'll take the final next week at that point. If you have any questions, feel free to ask the questions. I'll try to help out as much as possible. I just sort of wanted to skim through these two on the in-class assignments. If you still haven't completed them, please give them to me. I'll try to give you some feedback today on your in-class assignments. So please do take care of your responsibilities. It's close. We are so close to being done here. Okay, so close to being done. So please, once again, just keep up with the material, and we'll get ourselves out of here and done and over with. If you have questions, once again, feel free to ask. Hope everything's going well for you and your family at home. Hope everybody's staying away from illness. We're starting to open things back up. So we've done our part. Hopefully we can keep this momentum going to get us back to some sort of normalcy in the world. That would be great. I'd love to watch an Indians game. I would just love to watch an Indians game. That'd be awesome. But that's just me. Other than that, once again, I have nothing else for you. I miss you guys. I wish you were in class and we are finishing up, because there's nothing much better than the end of the school year and going through classes. It's just a relief of feelings to be able to get completion, and we're not going to be able to get that. So this is the best that we can do. If you have questions, once again, feel free to ask. Adios. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow.